Hello guys, great to have you back. So I have a video I would love to react to from SOC 119, and it says college students are shocked that white people are poor too. Oh wow.
Hi, my name's Emily. I'm a BBH. I'm a third year BBH major with a kinesiology minor, and I'm from Kansas City, Missouri, but I'm not a Chiefs fan.
You're not a Chiefs fan? You had to just slip that in there, right? All right.
I'm Isaiah. I'm a junior right now. I'm studying political science and psychology, and I'm from right outside of Philly.
The majority of poor people in the U.S. look like me. Like, how is that? Have you ever thought about that? No, but it's not just an observation. It's what you walk around with in your mind, right? When you think, because when you think poverty, think poor people. Like, if in your mind, anytime anyone says something about poor people, you think black people, it's like, okay, hang on, that's big, that's really important. Do you know why you might do things like vote for Trump? Yeah, what would you say to them? Tell them about racism now. Tell those white people about all the racism that exists, that the two of you experiencing, that you're going to experience in your lives. What comes to mind when you think about poor people in the U.S.?
Probably, black boys, that's what comes to mind first.
I kind of think of lower income areas.
Lower income areas?
In general. Quality of housing
and who's in those areas? Like what people?
It tends to be predominantly black people, but there's a lot of white people where I'm from that are in those areas as well.
So now the two of you have said what you said, right? You said, yeah, it tends to be just certain areas, right? And it's predominantly black and brown people?
Not in Kansas City.
Not in Kansas City, but yeah. But thinking about the U.S.
Yes, in the U.S. it's...
Okay, where'd you come up with that? Where do you come up with that observation?
That there's more black people that are...
Yeah, that you think black people immediately.
I mean, I don't know if it's something purposeful, but just from being around Philly, I just see a lot of them, roaming the streets and stuff. I'm over time, there seems to be a little correlation.
Hey, so how is that for you when you look in a mirror and you think, okay, poor people in the U.S., the majority of poor people in the U.S. look like me. How is that? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely blessed to be where I am, attended Penn State. But yeah, it makes me think I could be out there as well with them if I go down the wrong path or something happens down the line.
Look at these numbers. Numbers of people living in poverty in the U.S., right? So there are more black and brown people than white people, right? But look at the numbers, right? So Isaiah, you said that, yeah, mostly black people, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now what do you think?
I mean, like I said, that was just from my observation.
No, I got you.
Yeah.
No, but it's not just an observation. It's what you walk around with in your mind, right? When you think, because when you think poverty, think poor people. If in your mind, anytime anyone says something about poor people, you think black people, it's like, okay, hang on, that's big, that's really important. So what's this say? Yeah.
It's enlightening, man. It's cool to see a stat like that.
Because
there's a lot of white Americans that are also poor as well.
Yeah, but so what's cool? What makes it cool? What's good about seeing that, or what's kind of beneficial about seeing that?
It changed my perspective.
How so?
I didn't know that there were that many white poor Americans living in the U.S.
Emily, how about you?
I think that I've lived in several different class areas.
Different areas, yeah.
So, like, when I was in the lower class area, when I was younger, I was like the only black kid there. So,
in the lower class area, you were the only black kid.
Yeah.
So for a year, you're like, okay,
Yeah.
this is not.
So yeah, it's kind of not surprising to me, but
Okay.
also like my area is more predominantly white.
More predominantly white, right? This isn't. We're not talking about East St. Louis, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Isaiah, what would you say to the white people? Like, I mean, because you're not the only one, right? I mean, I know that most people are going to think black people and brown people when they think poverty. So, what would you say to lower class or white people who are in poverty? Like, what would you say to them? Like, the people, they just get disregarded, you know?
Like in what context? Like,
Yeah, well, I don't know, just whatever. Like, how would it be to be poor and white and have no one thinking that you're? I mean, Emily here is saying like, yeah, I've seen, but somebody like you, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people like you who are, you're poor and white, and you're like, hey, man.
yeah, like I definitely feel a certain way because like none of the focus would be on me. Like, so it'd be bad. Like, I wouldn't feel great about it for sure. Yeah.
Do you know why you might do things like vote for Trump?
Yeah, I mean,
Or vote for politicians who are saying like, hey, poor white people, you need to like, you've been shit on for a long time and like, you need to.
yeah, I could see like, yeah, why a poor white person would do that. Yeah.
Most people in, say, like the KKK, that are still in these white supremacist groups and stuff, they're all poor, man. They're not rich. You know what I mean? They're not wealthy. They're not living in state college. So can you imagine? You know what I mean? To say, what do they think about you? It's like, here's another black guy in Penn State, two black people at Penn State. Like, yeah, you all are getting all these opportunities, and what about me, man?
Hey, they feel bad. They feel bad, man.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I'm just throwing it. I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Like, it's odd to me that does it seem odd to you, like as someone who grew up around with, who went to school and with a lot of poor white people, does it seem odd to you that we don't talk about, like, so we're talking about racism, right? And so Anya, and so the three of you, we're talking about race, all this stuff of racism, and we're having this conversation about, institutional structural racism, but what do you think these white people are thinking about all these conversations about racism that don't involve them? They're actually seen as the problem. Like, y'all white people got so many advantages, and you 15.9 million white people with all your advantages, and yeah, what would you say to them? Tell them about racism now. Tell those white people about all the racism that exists, that the two of you experiencing, that you're going to experience in your lives.
Like systematically?
Oh, whatever. I don't know. Any kind of racism. I won't even define it.
I would say that one advantage that they have would be something like perception by the police.
Perception by the police. Okay.
Because that's something that comes up a lot.
Okay. How often?
I can't really say how often, but there's like numerous cases where a black individual is like profiled because
Okay.
they were like walking downtown with their hands in a hoodie, and there was like,
Okay. All right. What else?
I'm not sure.
I'm not disregarding that. People, especially young black men, have lost their lives simply because they're young black men. That's the only thing. Not doing anything, not even being in any way, doing the wrong thing in the wrong place, anything at all, acting a certain way, nothing. have either A, been arrested, beaten up, lost their lives, et cetera, okay?
A white person, if they were convicted for the same crime as a black person, they would have less harsh of charges?
So, not would have.
Or they would be likely to have less?
They would be, to some degree, more likely to have some kind of reduced charges.
Yeah.
But you don't know what degree it is, and you don't know the context. So this is like Gabby's stuff with healthcare, right? Like, we know there's something here, but we don't know what it is, right? So I'm hesitant to throw numbers out. But in every situation, in some situations, it would be beneficial to be black. And there are going to be some situations, but on average, if I'm going to have to enter the criminal justice system, looking like me, being as a white man, or being Isaiah as a black man or brown man, however whatever kind of man we want to be, I'm going to choose me. So, okay. Isaiah, how about you, man? What you're going to tell these people the advantages they have?
I mean, like, I don't really know if like one group specifically has like an advantage or disadvantage. I feel like it's an equal level like playing ground. It's because, like, for instance, like you said earlier, like white people that are poor, they might be forgotten, and also like black people that are poor experience racism. So it's like two negatives. So it's kind of like equal at that point. So I don't really know if one group is necessarily like more advantaged than the other in that case.
Is the racism that poor black people feel the biggest problem that poor black people have, or is it the poverty?
Probably poverty. Yeah.
Okay, so then is it the poverty that white people have that's the biggest problem for them? So for both groups, and we're not even talking about Asians, Hispanics, American Indians, right? But for both groups, white people and black and brown people, it's the poverty is the biggest problem. That's like going to probably be like, 95+% of your obstacles here.
I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, all right. So this is the thing, though, right? This is where we're at. This is like where we're constantly in this battle. We're not talking about, we make the assumptions about racism and white privilege and all this stuff, but it gives rise to a lot of problems because a lot of white people aren't feeling the kind of things that the rest of us are feeling. Even like when the three of you were saying, yeah, but you got to be willing. When you were, I think it might have been you. You were saying like, you got to be willing to do the research and look at the numbers and look at the data and so on, right? But I'm thinking about these people. It's like they don't have time to do research. They don't give a damn about. They're not. You talk about when we start talking about all this white racism, they just like, I gotta imagine they turn off. They're not thinking like, what's about me? Like, what the fuck, a thought on that? Do you see that? You're kind of smiling. Are you with me on it? The people who are they thinking about it? The kids you went to school with?
Yeah, they're kind of like, I guess, like we're on the same level, sort of.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Hey, can you go? Yeah, exactly. Can you go back to Jonas's question? I'm around two black people who are politically and socially opposed to each other on the black experience. Do you know people who you're like, who you just have very different views on the black? Do you know, like, are you?
I mean, yeah, like I know people that like, like, what I'm saying, they black and they're like conservative, and yeah, it's hard to like.
Dude, most black people are conservative, by the way, but I mean, like, really. Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, conservative.
Yeah,
Stop, don't complain. If you have a problem, black men in particular, it's like, black people, if you tell me if you go with this, if you have a problem, it's your fault, man. If you get in trouble, it's your fault. Like, stop doing stupid shit. Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Get moving forward. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, but like, it's familiar, but like most of the people in Philly, like if they do something or get caught, it's never their fault somehow. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
But once you get caught, it's never your fault.
Yeah.
But you know, if you ask their grandmothers or their mothers or their fathers or their pastors, what are they saying? It's like it's your fault.
Yeah.
You're being an idiot. This is where we lose track of the. Can you feel this? This is where we lose track. People have this idea that black people just make excuses for bad black behavior, and I'm like, nah, man, you don't understand black people. You know?
Yeah, my dad's kind of that way, where he's like, well, I made it out, so like, you can
get it out. So
yeah.
I made it out, so you make it out.
Yeah.
I'm responsible. You be responsible.
Yeah, like I agree. Like when we had I think it might have been like 2 or 3 classes ago, like with the people, I think they robbed somebody or whatever. Yeah, like, nah, most black people probably be like, just throw them under the jail and like just, yeah.
So where do you think we get this idea from that black people are not like that? Like that black people all just want to make excuses for all the dumb things that black people do. Like, where does that come from?
Probably like social media and like the movements and stuff. Like, I'm not saying like the movements, like the Black Lives Matter movements are wrong, but like I think the majority of people will kind of just assume that like all black people are covering up for like other black people's behavior when that just isn't the case. Like,
yeah,
if I see on TV that like 2 black men robbed this and that, like I'm not gonna be like, oh man, throw money to these guys, like get them some help. Like, nah, like you gotta put them like under the jail. Just
put them. Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Throw them under the jail.
Do you have another? Is there another question? Sam from Texas. How quickly can these things change? How much do the expressions of these narratives lag behind the actual grievances? That's really interesting. Do you have a thought about that? The narrative about racism, it's still here. And again, I think it's still here. It's just, you know, of course it's built into the system, right? Like, which is what Brooklyn was saying a while back. Like, it's built in, man. But how much does it lag behind the grievances? Do you have grievances, man? How often do you experience racism?
Oh, I mean, like at Penn State, like I've had like a good amount of encounters. Like a bunch of, I think I've had like 3 or 4 people just call me the N-word, like off bat. Like, bro, like I'm walking up the sidewalk, like dude is like, bro, I was like, dang, like.
Wait, some dude, like a white guy?
Yeah, it probably happened like 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Yeah, just were they drunk?
No. Like this was at like 4 p.m. Tuesday. I mean, he could have been, but like, if bro was like an addict or something, like
just driving by, or something, walking by.
Yeah, it was like they were walking in a group, and like, yo, he just said it. I was like, I can't just fight, bro, and then get kicked out of Penn State. So I was like, nah. So.
Damn. You? How about you?
I personally haven't had any experiences like that here at Penn State, but like I have back home with like a larger, I would say, white population, and also like it was in a lower income area, and it was like less educated people.
I used to think in my small that every white person is rich. I used to see rich people. I used to see white people as rich people. That no white person is poor. But now I know better. I understand life and better. That life can happen to anybody, be it white, be it black, like death, grief, poverty, so many etc. Can happen to anybody. Active section. But I feel the professor should give the student room to speak more. He should listen whenever he asks questions. I feel that he puts words in their mouth, like interrupt them whenever they are talking. But hope you enjoyed the video. See you on the next one. Watch, like, subscribe. Be at peace with yourself. Bye-bye.